Sure. Good morning. Thank you for having this panel. I think it's very interesting to talk about what we all do. I think sometimes we sort of sit behind our desks and, we don't forget about our audiences. We all sit there and try and figure out every day how to engage with our community. And after 25 years of the museum, Noguchi opened it in 1985 to the public. After 25 years and a series of very wonderful exhibitions in the last few years, we've been scratching our heads, at the museum, among curatorial staff and education and public programming staff, to try to figure out what is it that we're interested in presenting to our audiences. These are people who are living in our neighborhoods, people who work and live very close by, including Roosevelt Island and that Upper East Side stretch, just on the other side of the East River, and really trying to figure out what those topics are of interest. And it seems that there is a trend among a lot of museums right now to look at the immediate neighborhood. And we took that lead, and in the spirit of the way Noguchi built the museum, how he came out to Long Island City, bucked the trends from the 1960s. He came out to Long Island City when everybody, all the other artists were going to Soho or Tribeca. Wanted to see what would it take for a artist to develop an idea and create a community. And so we invited 4 artists to come to Long Island City, and they've all done work in the public arena, very familiar with working in public space, public art projects, and really asked them to take that spirit of Noguchi. If you were here, if you lived here, worked here, what would you like to see happen in Long Island City? So that's where we're presenting this fall, and it's actually a 2-part exhibition where we are presenting the ideas at the Noguchi Museum until April. And we partnered with Socrates Sculpture Park, a neighbor of ours, and I think many of you are very familiar with the park. They will then present the second exhibition where artists' proposals will be built in real scale. So that people can see these things happen and they are real. And it's not hard to imagine what the 21st century of Long Island City might look like. So.
Thanks. By the way, when I was a college student, I visited Noguchi's studio here in Long Island City in the mid-'70s, and it was amazing to meet the great master, but also it was just a really very empty part of the city at that time. It really has changed, and basically changed on the basis of culture. So just to answer your question, Dan, I can think of sort of 3 things, and audience and funding do interrelate. And for one thing, the main thing is we're doing a big expansion. We're going to have a fantastic, glittering new facility, as you have right here today, in a couple of years. But everybody in this room drives past the Queens Museum on the Grand Central many times during your week, and nobody yet has noticed we're there, because we're hidden behind trees, because it looks like an old building from 1939 World's Fair. And actually, we have our president and chairman sitting over here, and one of the great innovations, or obsessions, I'd say, of our president has been that is 250,000 people a day passing the museum that need to see it, and we're going to have a glittering new facade with an amazing lighting system. So even if you don't get off the highway, 1 million people every 4 days are going to see the museum, notice we're there, and it's going to be in your consciousness, in your sort of internal Google Maps will have that pin right on. The second thing is that, being very, very local and being very international simultaneously is our goal. So the current show that we have up, is not a local artist. It's a show about Detroit. We're very interested in cities and how they progress. But, got a full-page New York Times article in Sunday, several weeks back. And so the shows are international. We've done debut shows for major international artists. At the same time, we really take local seriously. We have a community organizer on our staff. We're working in Corona all the time. We have an outpost on Roosevelt Avenue, artist project right now. So, and we're also programming in multiple languages. So at the Queens Museum right now, you can take digital sound design in Mandarin. You can take, website design in Tibetan. Literally, you can do this stuff. It's a way, working with the Queens Library, I know that Jimmy's a great champion of them. We all know that the Queen's Library is one of the great preeminent cultural institutions in America. Working with them, teaching a course for 4 sessions at the library, then 4 sessions at the museum to introduce people in native tongue to the Queen's Museum. So that also is fundable. So there's the building, there's the internationalism of the exhibitions, and there's the localism of really taking our local community seriously. So if anybody here not been to the Queen's Museum? Okay, so for you, we have a panorama of the city of New York. You got to come see it. Your house is in our museum. That's the other thing. I always have to mention the panorama. It's my great love. So that's the other asset we have, which in the long run, I think, draws tens of thousands of people. Right now, the museum is filled with kids studying New York City and doing that on the panorama.
I'm really happy to be here. I'm new to MoMA PS1. I've been there since July, but actually my first museum job was here at the Museum of the Moving Image about 15 years ago. Carl and I know each other. Our children go to the same school in Manhattan, I'll tell you, but public school, yeah. But it's great. It's great to see here. I mean, just coming here today and seeing this museum, it's a lot different. I think when I was here, maybe the last expansion had just completed, and in a way, I don't recognize this place. I mean, so much. It's such a great investment, and even the neighborhood. So it's great to see. Now, for my short time at MoMA PS1, I actually did work at MoMA before, about 11, 12 years ago. I think people look at MoMA PS1, and it's this huge museum. It's part of the Museum of Modern Art, and certainly they're a great asset to us. And we try to do as much marketing with them as possible. But one of my goals coming in is to how can we attract more people in Queens, in Long Island City, and we don't have. We have a bigger budget maybe than other institutions in Queens, but we still have the same issues about how to have outreach, how to have marketing, and we certainly use social media quite a bit for all our exhibitions, for warm up during the summer, and that is quite effective. We don't have really much money for marketing, so it's a really grassroots approach, and I think that has been great, and we'll keep continuing to do that. I think also just being here today, I think we're all these great institutions. I think we can work together more, and really use our power. Each of us has great lists and friends that I think we should work together, and also all of you. I think. Certainly, I want to. We have this big building, and then these walls that are up. We want people to come in. Just are finishing this great project with the city, a new entrance kiosk, which really just changes the museum in a radical way. Where now on Jackson Avenue you can come in, and I think that.